Hi, welcome to 50 Shades in Grey. I'm not grey yet, but I'm definitely on the way there. On the way there. So we're going to be talking about everything to do with midlife, from dating to parenthood, absolutely everything. We've had a lot of questions in that we're going to kick off today about dating when you get older, because that does change. It changes a lot from when you're in your early 20s, when it's really easy. To as you get older, it's a lot more difficult to navigate everything. So we're just going to be chatting about that, and I'm going to be chatting about it with Zach. This is Zach.
Hello.
Hello. So I found that when I was dating, that it was just very difficult, or very different, I should say, from when you're in your 20s.
Yeah, I just heard you say that, but then do you not think that that's your opinion now, looking back? So, like, when you're in your 20s, in those situations, if you might be in situations or breakups or sort of difficult dilemmas, you think it's because you haven't experienced anything else, like when you're older, that you talk about, it feels like quite serious and quite important, and like you get really emotional. Where do you not think? I know you're saying that, but do you not think that's you reflecting when you're older, and then you really like feel maybe you really find out what love is, or you go through serious relationships so there's more on the line and more at stake? Do you not just think that's looking back?
No.
No.
Is the answer. No, I tell you my
in short.
In short, no. I tell you, and these are my reasons. I think that when you get older, there's so much more in your life. There's kids, there's work commitments, and that I know you have in your 20s, but they're not as intense. You haven't got that responsibility, I don't think, that you had. It just seems so easy when you were younger. And I think a date when you get older, especially, date when you get kids, that in itself, that becomes a lot harder.
Yeah, I guess so, especially young kids, I think when they're older, it's a bit easier now.
It does, yeah. Obviously, you were sort of 5, I think.
Yeah, but you're dependent when you're 5, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So when I was dating when you were sort of 6, and you would always come first before absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's always hard for other people. And I've experienced that from both sides, from having young children and dating people with young children. So it is an understanding that you do have, but that's very difficult. And obviously when you get older as well, you have a situation of like you're already living on your own.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm single at the moment. I actually really enjoy being
It's like a little promo.
Yeah. No, but I actually enjoy being single, and that's the other side of it as well. I think you
like being single too much. I do. I think you like your routine, and you just, because you've had it so long, you're just comfortable having it. And I don't think sometimes you're willing to give that up. No, I don't think so. So I think I'd be like that. But it's like there's just more at stake, isn't it? Because it's like silly stuff. Like if you meet someone, you may have, well, as a guy and a woman, you might have investments, you might have like sort of things like houses, put money and time into. Exactly. You got, so besides the financials, obviously you've got your time. Like if you're investing your time into someone, like your routine, whether that's gym, whether that's football, whether that's other interests, you're sort of giving that up and sort of sharing a lot more and compromising, which I think maybe will be more difficult. I don't know if you're older, like making the time, but.
And they're the things I say when you get older, they're the difficulties about dating as well.
Yeah.
And then it's what we've had a lot of questions on about is where, when you get older, you actually meet people, because when you're younger, you're out and about all the time because your weekends are sort of socialising in bars and clubs, and as you get older, maybe not so much. So then it's you know, you look at dating sites and I've had lots of messages from you about how to navigate the dating sites and which dating sites to go on. Now, as I've said before, I'm no expert in this at all, but I just can give you my experience.
Yeah.
And I think that's another issue that as you get older, that's harder. And then, like you say, you have houses and, you know, you've got all these other commitments, you've got kids and giving up your time is very precious anyway.
Yeah.
So to start dating, it takes a lot of time. It's expensive as well, especially for a guy. So there's all those things that come into it as you get older, and then there's you've actually got to want to meet someone in the first place as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, you're right. Time's money as well. Did you think like would you say then it's more difficult falling in love when you're older? Or maybe everyone's different, but yeah, do you know, I was thinking about that. Like, do you think it is then? You personally?
For me, it's probably keeping the momentum. It's the hardest part.
Yeah.
It's not the necessarily the first bits, because it's always nice when you meet someone.
Oh yeah, I feel like they count, but like in terms of the grand scheme of things, I feel like they should be smooth sailing.
Yeah, I think what I've probably done over the years, definitely, in fact, is I think people, or myself, I should say, is I felt like I was in love when actually I was falling in love.
Yeah.
I think it probably takes a long time to completely get there. But when you get excited by it at the beginning, because everything's new and everything's fresh and you met someone that's new, I think you get those feelings of falling in love.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes, I know I've done that before in the past, is I've mistaken those for being in love.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's come with experience, where I've sort of jumped in and then sort of 5-6 weeks later, I've suddenly thought, oh, actually, yeah, this is maybe not what I was so excited about, because you get to know the other person more, they get to know you more. And like I say, like it's happened both ways for me.
Yeah.
When I've had that feeling, I know other people have had that feeling about me.
Yeah.
And then, and do you know what else it is as well about meeting people when you're older? Is when you're in sort of like a good place when you're single, and you're quite happy, you're bouncing around every day, you're sort of going to work, you're coming home, you've got your little routines, you've got your friends that you go out with occasionally. You kind of, it's a risk then meeting someone, because if that doesn't work out and it goes the wrong way for you, it's like it's quite upsetting. Not upsetting is the wrong word, but it's like it's knocked you out of that routine.
Yeah, and then it takes a while, I guess, to get back into it, or maybe not seeing friends, and then it's what that does.
Because you've got to pick yourself up again, which I'm an expert on picking myself up again, by the way. But no, it is. It's that it knocks you back, and it's like so. There's always that consideration, I think.
I think obviously I'm still a baby, but I think what I'd struggle with dating and the process of dating is it got like works both ways. But me, obviously, I'm a guy, but if I was then dating, being single, and I had like assets, it's like if I had a house and then I met someone, it said knowing like it is a massive risk, like for me. Like then, what do you both buy a house or like I feel like it's such a big gamble, isn't it? You can't guarantee those things.
Yeah,
I know you could say that when you're younger, like if you have a girlfriend, like, oh, let's live together, and then say you both want a house, you go in on a mortgage, and it's like, well, if it doesn't work, things can get like messy, can't they?
Yeah.
But then I don't know what I'd be like when you're older, and then maybe you have a kid, and that your money's going there, or
and they're valid considerations when you're old as well. And I've had this conversation with 2 or 3 of my female friends that are divorced, and they're not with people, and they've got good jobs, they're very affluent, and they've got their own houses and everything, and they're like, I don't want, what's the other guy bringing to the table, or what is the other person bringing to the table as well. So there is that consideration. I guess, I don't know, maybe I would have said, like, if you meet the right person, you just don't
think about it.
You don't care, but it is a consideration. It definitely is a consideration, because, say for me here in our house, it's like this is everything that I've unfortunately ever done.
This defines me.
This is my life.
Like that shed you just built don't define you.
Don't knock my shed. But you do like this. So this is everything that I've built up that you sort of is one day will all be yours. You knew that. Sell it. It's gone. No, but it is, and it's like, right, if someone else comes in and they've got kids, then what, so it is. It's all of that and how that works as well.
Yeah.
And I know again, I've had lots of conversations and messages through Insta actually about women that have finding themselves becoming single and divorced when they're in their 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
And it's a big sort of, right, what do I do now?
Yeah.
No,
I know what you mean. Well, you've still got so much left of your life to live as well.
Oh, God, you're still so young.
I think nowadays, there's a bigger stigma that maybe that's completely wrong, but now I feel like people, like health's improving, obviously, with medicines and infrastructure, and I feel like people are living all this. That's a fact. People are living longer. I feel like people are feeling like their lives are longer than maybe they previously thought. Like, I guess now, like, if you're in your 40s or 50s, you're not up, like, I know people say, oh, no, you're not old. You know,
no.
You got so much left. Thank you. Well, no, you got so much left to do, and that's why I just don't know if that's changing now, because I don't know if now as well, like, the people are not staying together as long as they used to. I don't know if that's a thing nowadays, like that stigma, or not even a stigma. Like, I think the divorce rates are going up nowadays. And I just don't know if now people are just not staying together as much as they previously were.
My personal opinion is I don't think people will accept being unhappy anymore. Like, maybe if you went back 30, 40 years ago, people would stay together, be married, but absolutely hating each other.
Yeah.
And they'd stay together for the kids, and they'd stay together for all the right reasons, probably for everything else, but maybe not the right reason for them.
Yeah.
And I think maybe now people are valuing their life more and thinking, I don't want to be unhappy. And,
I completely.
And I think people are getting married a little bit later.
Yeah, I think that, and having kids. I think female having kids as well.
I think it's starting to become later. Obviously, you've always got a biological clock that, as a woman, that you're fighting against. But I think, say, like, all being equal, for me, looking back now, I think a great age to have kids, if all being well, would be sort of
35.
Late 30s, 40s. Yeah.
As a guy, you mean, and then all female like 35.
Well, yeah. Well, no. I'm saying if women could have babies right the way through and choose an age, when that would be. Because I think at 40 now you're still so young, and you'd have done a lot of the other stuff.
Oh yeah, and I'd still. I think being like a young parent is not like. I think that's sort of the feeling and how you are. Like, I think, although I might not have kids till late 30s, I feel like I'll still be considered a young dad.
Like, we had this conversation the other day. You saying
some
about
mates are desperate to be young dads.
They want to be young dads, yeah.
Like having the next 5 years having kids, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. I mean,
that's fine for them.
It is personal, but I think
some women want to be young mums, don't they?
For me, I think I would have definitely had more kids in my 40s.
Yeah.
And sort of now, not that I probably would still consider having more kids. I think if I was with someone that wanted more kids, then you've got to do the right thing by that person. If they want, you want to give them what they want.
100%.
But I think later on in life, I think you know yourself a lot better. You've done a lot of the stuff. You're more secure.
Yeah.
You're not, worried about being out every weekend. I think, in your early 20s, maybe, I think that was one thing that I found. I mean, I had you...
32?
No, I was 31.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I'm holding on to every year.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was 31. And at the time, you think...
In October, sorry, can you put it that way, 31, so I'm...
Just turned.
You just
Yeah,
I
I
was born in October.
day after me you were born.
Oh yes. Sorry.
Just turned.
Oh yeah.
Literally by 1 day.
So nearly 30, really. So.
But and I think, I mean, this is, I've always said to you, haven't I? I think my biggest regret growing up is I always thought I was older than I was. I think when you're 25, you think, I should have done that when I was 20, and then when you were 30, you think, God, I was only 25, then I should have done it. And
but I think that's one thing you say, you still do. Like, I know you tell me that, but I still think that about myself. Like,
yeah, but at least you got someone telling you.
I'm getting on. I'm 22.
Oh God,
like,
no.
I was only 18, I only just left school now. I'm 22. It's
yeah,
4 years ago.
So to give you a bit of background on Zach, so Zach's coming to the end. Zach's here. Zach's coming to the end this year of his university, and it's at that age where deciding what to do and where to go and what next. And I've told him from my point of view that he literally, not that he would do this, but he could literally stay at home and watch TV for the next 2 years and not make any decisions whatsoever, and he'd still be 24 at the end of that, which is still a baby.
Yeah.
He won't do that. Obviously, no. I wouldn't let him do that. But my point is, I think I found when I was growing up, everyone was so keen to push you and rush you about what you want to do and make decisions. And I wish someone had just said to me, don't, things will happen when they will happen. You'll get to where you go. You'll get to where you're going eventually. Yeah. And you're so young. God, you're so young. Even that's what I say with the kid thing. Even in your 30s, you're still. I wish, looking back now, I wish I realised how young I was at 37, 38.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I want to be like, I mean, even if I haven't met someone, I then might meet someone in my 50s or 60s, and then I'll just be like a Jay from Modern Family, just knock them out at 70.
That's your holdout.
Yeah, that's my backup plan. That's my plan.
I was going to meet a Sophie years ago when I'm
just falling out like Jay.
Yeah, that was my plan.
You still got 20 years till that becomes it. Jay's at 70, so. I do think. So I think, you just got time, and like I said, I think you're right. I think more people are just sort of. I think there's more encouragement of being happy, and if you're not happy in relationships, sort of leaving them. And I think that's I think probably one that still causes a lot of divide. I think is a very personal answer is whether sort of being, if you're in a relationship with kids and you're unhappy, whether you should stay or leave. Because obviously my parents have, obviously you guys split. There's many people you guys weren't married, but people in marriages who stay together because of their kids. And I feel like there's obviously two opinions. I feel like there's a big split on, there's such good arguments for both. Do you know what I mean? But I think that's a topic that's always going to be split.
Okay, so I think it's the right thing to do for the kids. However, what I would say is when your kids get into their late 20s, early 20s, whatever it may be, and they you're having conversations with them, I think if you said to your kids, I've stayed with your father, I've stayed with your mother for all these years and I've not been happy, their response would just be, we should have left.
Yeah, I think that. I really think that, and I think that maybe parents worry too much about consequences on their kids. Or maybe because they just worry if they leave, then the dynamic, how that will affect them seeing their kids. Maybe that's one sort of.
I think the happiness of your kids is your only concern, your main concern.
Yeah,
you just want them to be happy. It depends at what cost that is, I guess. If you're unhappy in the process and maybe you're not. I found my personal opinion is that I think a lot of people become a lot better parents when they're not together than when they are together, because I think you value your time together more. I mean, you growing up, your time was split between your mum and myself, and I know that
not everyone has that though. Not everyone just see both. Like a lot of people have designated weekends, and I was quite lucky. I got like a good balance, but that's probably maybe a factor for other people. They won't get much of a split, or
Yeah, I think that is probably the main thing. It's how the two people are in the relationship, and trying to keep it amicable and keep personal feelings to one side is very difficult, because the main thing that you should both be concerned about are the kids, the children involved.
Yeah.
And that should be the main concern. And the bottom line is, you both are always going to be their parents.
Yeah.
You know, so that your job is just to be the best parent you can be. And I think the two things that are separate I always look back to a holiday that I went on with my friends. We were, 18, 19. And we were in one of the Spanish islands. We were out for dinner. I remember looking over at this couple, and at the time they seemed like an older couple. They probably wasn't.
Yeah.
They were probably in their sort of late 30s, 40s. And they were sitting there and literally didn't have a word to say to each other.
No.
And the only time they had a conversation is when the waiter came over, because it gave them a focus for conversation.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking then, I don't ever want to be with someone that I can't speak to, like all the time.
Yeah, I agree.
You can have comfortable silences.
No, but that's when you know I like something. I can literally not say anything and still but so many people, even my age, I see going out, but instead of what you said being silent, it might be on their phone.
Yeah, because it gives them a distraction.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, how can you do? And that's not even at my age.
Yeah.
That's older as well. Like, how can you?
And I think the conversation that you said was that I think the danger is sometimes, and it can work both ways, that sometimes when the kids do leave from a relationship where you've both stayed or one of you stayed, you'll get that when the kids go, you both look at each other, and you'll either like you'll get to find each other again, and that'll be great, or you both realise that you're now 20 years older when you realise that you wasn't happy.
Yes.
And you've got nothing in common. All that you had in common was actually the kids, but 20 years has now passed.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Where it's like, that's a lot to give up. But then I guess they feel like it's their kids. It's a hard one.
And that's probably easier if it's mutual, but when it's one person feels that way and the other one doesn't, then there'll be a lot of resentment, like, well, geez, tell me 15 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Don't tell me now.
Yeah.
I'm 15 years older and I've got grey hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're lucky.
Yeah. Why? Because I can have kids late.
Well, you can have kids late.
Jay.
Yeah. That's what you're holding out for, Jay. Right, that brings us to the end of today. So thanks for joining us. Send us in your questions, anything you want to talk about and chat about. Happy to chat with Zach. I'm going to be having a few guests on the show to chat along with me. And we're going to be talking about loads of different things. So anything to do with midlife, let us know. But see you again soon. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.